Hello, friends. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the gas station. This is Wednesday, January 10th. Chilly day, but no rain. Man, we got rain yesterday. Holy cow. It rained for, I think, 24 hours. Lost power out at the cabin because uh, went to check the cameras and everything was offline. Came back on about midnight, I guess. But that's what happens when you're on the grid. Power goes out. Now, had I been out there, I'd have gone out and fired up the generator or plugged in my power station. I'd have had power. I wasn't worried about that. I got to go out this weekend and make sure I have the pump drained and all that kind of stuff, and the hose out of the barrels, because it's gonna be cold next week. We're gonna find out what winter's all about next week. But I hope everybody's having a wonderful week so far. This is Hump Day. I was doing a live stream Saturday night and lost the internet. And they said that they could expect outages. We got outages. I haven't felt much like doing a lot this week. I mean, I feel better, but at the same time, it's like, I go through bouts where I have a fever or the coughing. I think I'm pretty much at the end of, I hope. The last couple nights I've been able to sleep all night, which has helped tremendously. But then, I get my nose starts again. It's like, this will not go away. And I'm afraid there is something out there that they're not telling us about. They don't have a name for it yet or something. Because it's not COVID. I don't have that. But everybody that has it, I mean, it's 2 or 3 weeks of fighting it, and you think you're getting better, and it comes back. Hospitals are full. They got people in hallways. My boss had to go see his father-in-law at the hospital. They're on restricted visiting hours because they're going back to the COVID protocols. So something's happening they're just not telling us about. Maybe they think we're all worried about the list. We won't think about anything except the list. Holy crap. So, anyway, while I'm sitting here bored at the gas station, I thought I would do a video about the homeless problem and a kind of a story time video too. Because I was homeless. I've been homeless before. I understand how it works. 50 years ago, but still 45 years ago. It was different. But to give you a little, we have a homeless problem here in Wheeling. It's a real big problem, drug problem, like everywhere. But there's, services here. So a lot of people from out of town here go to Wheeling. They have, shelters and drug services, that kind of stuff. So we're always getting an influx of new people in here. And I live like 3 blocks from the Ohio River. The Ohio River runs right back behind me here at the gas station. And all along the river up towards more closer to where my house is along the river, there's homeless camps going up. Because they went over to this area and bulldozed down all the homeless camp stuff. Well, the people have to move. And it's like, if you don't have a plan with what to do with the people, then why are you taking, in the coldest time of the year, do you decide then to clean up the camps and bulldoze everything down? It makes no sense to me, but we have a council person here. The first transvestite, I think, elected to city council or something. I don't know. But a few years ago, when she was running for council, there was a little roundtable meeting about homelessness and the homeless situation. And I attended it out of curiosity and, because I do have some experience with it. And I basically told her, you have no idea what you're talking about. You guys don't know what to do with them. When I was homeless because I wanted to be. It was primarily men, and 70% of the people who were homeless were in the same situation as me. They just wanted to be. No responsibilities to anything, Now it's, a huge problem with drugs and mental illness. And we are ill prepared for either one of those. We don't know how to deal with either one of those situations. We don't have a plan in place. So, one of the things they did so that they could say, we've cut down on the homeless problem, we don't have as many homeless as we did, they changed the verbiage. Now it's unsheltered. How many are unsheltered? If you're living in a tent, or you're living in your car, or you're living in Salvation Army, or, you're sheltered. So you're not counted anymore as homeless. Now, when I was living in a tent or living in my car, I was homeless in my book, but now they only count the unsheltered. Just lies. They can say, look what we've done with the homeless problem that we've had. It's gotten crazy. I don't have an answer to it. I'm not wise enough to know what to. I know you can build shelters. You can build a homeless village. You can take these little sheds that everybody's building houses out of and put 30 of them out someplace with, a bathroom facility somewhere and shower facility. But the problem with that is the liabilities involved. Nobody wants to help because everybody gets sued now for everything. And if you try to help a homeless person, they're going to sue you over something. So you don't know what to do. You don't know how to help them. And I understand why the shelters are closing and they're quitting this kind of stuff because of the liabilities involved. That's what I tried to explain to to Rosemary Ketchum. She's saying, oh, well, we're going to build this facility. We're going to get people moved into here and we're going to do that. No, you're not. You haven't done it yet because nobody wants to take that liability on. So what do you do with them? You're going to come along the river here, tear down all the stuff they've got, all that's left. Where are they going? Have you thought about that? They're here because you mowed down everything they had over downtown by the Wheeling Creek down there and the Kroger's down there, So you're just pushing them around. You're making it hard. They're going to be squatting in homes. They're going to be breaking into homes. They're going to be stealing more. They got a nice little homeless camp going up over here. They got skids that they're building shelters out of. I wouldn't hesitate to do it. If I was homeless, I'd be doing the same thing. I don't look down on the homeless. I don't have the same amount of empathy as some people do because, like I said, my experience with it was my choice. When I decided I didn't want to be homeless anymore, I got a job and a place to live, and I wasn't homeless anymore. But I was very blessed, and I had a lot of help along the way. Therein lies my story time coming up. So, many of you know that watch my channel, have followed my channel for a while. I give glimpses into what makes Joe Waller, and the way we grew up and stuff. And, you know, I come from a very abusive family. They were split up, and stepmoms and stepdads, and, you know. I stayed with my mom. My sister and I stayed with our mom. Our older brother stayed with our dad after the divorce. And I think my mom was wanted by the law. We led a very nomadic kind of life. It was nothing to be woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, grab what you can, and we'd be in another state the next day. That's how we grew up. That's just the way it was. You know, aside from the abuse that we took, you know, the physical abuse and the mental abuse, and sexual abuse, every abuse imaginable. So that was how, you know, I grew up. So once I got my mom died, I was 15 years old, I think. And I wound up going to Cincinnati to live with my real dad and stepmom. They had a totally normal life. You know, they lived in the same house all their life. My brother and her kids, they went to the same schools, you know. They had everything normal. Well, here comes Joe. Joe couldn't handle that. Joe could not adapt to that kind of normalcy. So when I was 16, I ran away. I hitchhiked from Cincinnati, Ohio to Corpus Christi, Texas, where my sister was living. And I moved in with my sister and brother-in-law. And they, you know, I finished school and Frank made me work. The little bit I know about carpentry and stuff that I remember, I learned from Frank. And he took care of us. He, you know, thank God for Frank. So after high school, I went in the Navy. I got out of the Navy. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any place to go. So I wound up in Houston. And I couldn't, you know, today it would be diagnosed PTSD, you know, and I'm sure if I went to a psychiatrist, I would need a team of psychiatrists to figure me out. Because if one psychiatrist tried it, he'd be on somebody else's couch saying, okay, what gives here with this dude? But I'm sure, I mean, you know, I would be diagnosed PTSD, bipolar, manic depressive, all of that shit. I know. And, you know, you can survive that kind of upbringing. It's not easy. And, I mean, I don't take any medications or anything like that. But it's a struggle. I'm going to tell you, you know, I've been married for 40 years now. I got 2 kids. I haven't been homeless. You know, I've tried a couple times. But you do struggle with it. I mean, I'm not going to lie about it. But I decided to take off and go hitchhiking around the country. And back then, you didn't have these chain restaurants at every exit. You didn't have the McDonald's and Burger Kings and Waffle Houses and Wendy's, you know. You had a mom and pop restaurants, and you know, the truck stops were just, they were truck stops. They weren't like pilots and stuff. So you could go into any, I did it more times than I can count. I'd get off, you know, dropped off somewhere, and I'd find a little restaurant, and I'd go in and tell them straight up. It was like, look, I haven't eaten yet today. Have you guys got something I can do, you know, some work I can do in trade for a meal, right? Never once was it refused. They always had something you could do. They'd give you a good meal, give you a few bucks, you know, and you'd be on your way. If you were at a truck stop, you could lump trucks. Before lumping became a business and you had to go through all kinds of hoops, you used to be able to just pull in a truck stop and find somebody and say, hey, I need my truck unloaded. You unload it, they pay you. So we had those kind of things. I wound up in Las Vegas. And one of the things about Vegas and being homeless, I didn't realize it gets cold in the desert at night. Holy cow, does it get cold. And there was a railroad trestle, a bridge, that had concrete walls on each side. Well, we would build a fire up against that concrete, and then that heat would radiate through the concrete. And we would lean up against the concrete wall on this side for a little while, then turn around and do the other side. I said, all right, enough of that. I went to the Salvation Army. Told them I was a drug addict and an alcoholic and I need to get on their program. Well, I wasn't a drug addict, nor was I an alcoholic. I just needed to get off the street. And the way their program worked back then, you got to stay in the dorm. You got 3 meals. You had to go to the yard to work on all the donations that were sent in. They had electric shop, a TV shop, you sorted clothes, took care of the stores, things like that. You got $8 the first week. Then it went up $1 a week. And I think it was like a 10 or 12 week program. So about halfway through that program, I'm like, this ain't working. But I was, I'm a very friendly person, and I got no problem talking to people, getting along with people. Well, Brigadier John Ritchie, he was the main guy back then with the Salvation Army. I talked him into letting me use one of the company trucks to go to get my Nevada driver's license. Then I became a driver for the Salvation Army. You got $2.65 an hour then. They took out $30 a week for room and board because you had a little, almost like a little apartment with 3 guys in it, where you had your own bathroom, your own little kitchenette area. You didn't have the dorm out there with 50 other guys, That sounded like a TB clinic in the morning. And so I used to walk by the dorm and look at those guys and say, get a job. I did that, got that money, plus selling plasma twice a week. Because you can sell plasma twice a week. Whole blood you can only do once every 8 weeks. But I had that income coming in. And a lot of people would go to the Salvation Army if they needed helpers for a day. People that were moving, needed help loading a truck or unloading the truck. Different odd jobs. And what would happen is, at the end of the day, when you come back from the yard, everybody runs in the building and signs the list, and it goes whoever signs first. Well, I'm driving the bus now. I pull up at the building. Guess whose name is first on that list every night? Nobody got off of that bus until I did. And I got in that building and signed my name up. So I made money from that, and I became a dealer. I got enough money to go to dealer school. Walked over to the Holiday International, got a job at the Holiday International, dealing 21. Now, I was very good at it. And once I became a dealer, you get, a room at the Holiday International, My problem was I was a very good dealer. And by being a very good dealer, I mean, I entertained people. That's the secret to being a dealer, or it was back then, was being able to entertain people, keep them at your table. I made a ton of money in tips. My biggest problem was I gambled uncontrollably. At the end of my shift, I'd get all my tips, I'd go sit on the other side of the table, drink Black Russians, and gamble until all my tips were gone, and I'd go up to my room. So one night, I cashed my paycheck at the Lady Luck Casino, hit a triple your paycheck, and I went down, got on the craps table, Binion's Horseshoe, won a ton of money, right? So I went to cash out. I said, give me the $600, put the rest in a box. I'll be by in the morning, pick it up, take it to the bank, and I'm getting the hell out of this town. Well, the next morning I went by, picked up all that money, went to Caesar's Palace, got a junior executive suite for 3 nights for me and my buddy, got us 2 hookers for 3 nights. And, I lived good for 3 days, but then back to work. So I wound up, I couldn't get out of town. There was nothing I could do. I wound up going back to Brigadier General John Ritchie. And I said, dude, you got to help me get out of this town. I can't get out on my own. I need help. So they hired me. The Salvation Army hired me to manage the stores in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And they bought me a plane ticket to Albuquerque. Well, I cashed that in at the airport and gambled it away and wound up hitchhiking to Albuquerque. And that lasted for, a couple months. And I got into trouble with one of the girls that worked in one of the stores there. So I had to leave that. And I had no car or anything. So I thought, you know what? I'll try to hitchhike back to Houston. And I did. And in Houston, they have the Salvation Army that you can stay 2 nights for free, but then it was $3 a night after that to sleep in the dorm. Well, across the street from the Salvation Army was a labor pool, day labor. You go over there at 6 o'clock in the morning, go out on a ticket. They take you out to the job. They come and pick you up at the end of the job, and they pay you that day. So, and then that would give me enough money to pay for my night at the Salvation Army. And if you went to church services that night, you got dinner for free. And, I was doing that, and I decided, okay, I got to change, and I can't keep doing this. I got to figure out a way to get out of this lifestyle. I didn't want it anymore. And that's the secret to it. Once you make up your mind you don't want that anymore, you have to change it. I was blessed. I had people help me, but I had to make that decision, and I had to do it. That's the thing you guys have to remember. Any situation. So what I did, I was going out on this ticket to a company called Continental IMSCO. They wanted to hire me as a full-time employee instead of just through the labor pool. And I said, well, that's great, but I wouldn't get a paycheck for 3 weeks because they got paid every 2 weeks and they held a week back. I said, I cannot do that. If you will let me continue working out of the labor pool for a few weeks, until I could get a bankroll together, we'll see how that works out. And I went back to the guy at the labor pool and explained to him what was happening. So, and this guy was so kind. I mean, most of the labor pools, they didn't like their employees getting hired out. They made money off of me going out there. But he was very nice, and he paid for a week for me at a hotel downtown Houston, which was it was walking distance to the labor pool. There was a ratty little friggin' room that had a bathroom down the hall. You had to share with everybody else on the floor. But it was a place, to live. And he let me ride the van every morning to go to Continental IMSCO because they still took a crew from the labor pool. He let me ride the van down there every day, ride the van home at night. I could go back to my hotel. There was a restaurant next to the labor pool called the Pig Stand, right? So they hired me part-time to work evenings. So I had that money coming in plus the money from the labor pool. I I still got that every day. Now the labor pool, I think then minimum wage was up to $3.35. I think I got $3.35 an hour through the labor pool, and then Continental IMSCO was going to pay me $6 an hour to go full time with them. And I got the $3.35 an hour. I got the money from the pig stand and tips from the pig stand because there was no gambling then, so I could keep my tips, and I didn't drink or do drugs. So I did that for about 4 or 5 weeks. And I had met a guy at Continental IMSCO at the company, like me, working on the labor pool, no place to live. So across the street from where we worked was a bar. Behind that bar was a trailer court, right? He and I rented a trailer there. I'd saved up enough money to pay the deposit and rent on the trailer. I didn't have a car, but I could walk to work then. And so, I mean, that was the start of it. The girl at the barmaid at the bar, really liked me. Every day she brought me lunch. You know, at lunchtime, I'd leave Continental IMSCO, go across the street, have my lunch with the barmaid, go home, go back to work. Go to the bar, have a few drinks at night, go sleep in the trailer, get up and, the next day. But and it was all those people that helped me, that allowed me to get off the street. But the thing was, I made up my mind to do that. Nobody else made it up for me. Nobody forced me to do it. There were not all of these agencies around back then to help with the homeless situation. But, it's not something that can't be done. I'm so tired of excuses. Everybody is a victim now. I was a victim of my upbringing, but I never, ever used that as an excuse for anything I've ever done in my life, right? All of those people that did that, all of those people that knew what was going on and did nothing about it, everybody is dead. I'm still here. They're all dead, right? But that was never an excuse for anything. My life has been pretty fucked up sometimes. But not because of that, it's because I let things bother me too much. As long as I maintain control, it's all good. But it's not anybody's fault, anything that has happened to me in my adulthood. I made all of those decisions. I suffer the repercussions of my decision. If it was a bad decision, I won't make that decision anymore. You know what I mean? That's how you gotta look at it. So if you're homeless, you can get off the street. You have to have people who are willing to help you, but you have to be willing to do it and accept the fact it's not an easy thing to do. I think it's easier today than it was back then. But again, I was very blessed and had people who wanted to help me. I've had that all my life for some reason. I don't know why. But, yeah, I don't know what to do today with the drugs and the mental illness that's out there. I don't know how you fix that. But I don't think bulldozing down their camps is how you fix it. That's going to lead to more crime, more squatting in empty houses, more robbing houses. That's what that's going to lead to. That's why you can't fix the welfare system anymore. Everybody said, do away with welfare, do away with welfare. Take the food stamps away from them if they don't pass the drug test. Okay, these people have to eat, their families have to eat. If you take away their food stamps and their welfare, how are they going to feed their families? They're going to steal from you. So there's so many people that depend on that now. We can't cut it off. We're stuck now. Had we made it a supplemental type program, it may have been better, but no. You've given all these guys a free pass. They don't know how to do anything else. I could survive homeless without a problem. You know, especially now. I mean, there are so many agencies out there. The food bank, well, Catholic Charities has a place where you can go get breakfast up until like 10 o'clock. They have laundry facilities that you can use. They have showers that you can use. They take portable showers and portable washers and stuff to the homeless camps. You know, and there's a group around here called Street Moms or something like that. They collect sleeping bags for people and tents, and, you know, they go out and visit these camps to make sure that, you know, the people can stay warm. So there is a lot of help out there. But you can't force it on people. And you can't brush it under the rug by calling them unsheltered instead of homeless. You know, there's no differential there that I know of. If I'm living in my car, I'm homeless. I'm not unsheltered, I'm homeless. So yeah, how you fix it? No clue. You don't fix it by bringing in 10 million more illegal aliens, illegal migrants that are just going to add to the problem. You know, it's bad enough our vets are getting pushed out of the way to make way for these people. But now all the Americans who are unsheltered suffer from it. You know, they build all this stuff for the illegals. What about all these people around here? You know? What was it, in New York? They canceled school for a day because they had to move the migrants into the school because the tent city they had built them, it was raining so much, they were worried about it. Why are we bending over backwards for this? You know, I like Trump saying drill, baby, drill. I mean, that's, you know, that will fix a lot of things, but also deport, baby, deport. That's what we got to start doing. Anyway, I just thought I'd talk for a while and make time go by faster. I haven't made a video for a few days. I'll be back out at the cabin this weekend, and I'll try to do my live stream again. Hopefully I'll be feeling better, even more betterer. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you got any ideas what to do with the homeless people or how you get out of a homeless situation, let me know. If you're in a situation and you need somebody to talk to, you know, you got my email address, email me. I'll try to answer your questions. I'll try to give you some advice. I've been through it. I've been through the abuse. I've been, you know, it's, like I said, it's something that's there. It's in, you know, I know it's there. A lot of times you kind of like have to struggle to keep it from rearing its ugly head on occasion, if that makes sense. But it's not an excuse. I don't like to use that for an excuse for anything, and I don't like people who use it as an excuse. You know, I understand empathy, but this country has gotten to the point where everybody's a victim. Nobody is held accountable for their own actions. And that's what we have to do. That's the only way we're going to be able to fix this. You know what you're doing is wrong. I don't care about your past or how you were brought up. You know it's wrong. You have to break the chain. I broke the chain. You know, my family history is a history of violence. They all beat each other all the time. They beat their kids. They did everything. Right? I was able to break that chain. My kids, I made that before I ever got married. And before I ever had a kid, I promised myself that my children would never, ever experience anything like that. And they haven't. You know, thank God I married Gail, you know, to help, because, you know, you learn how to be a parent from your parents. And my parents pretty much sucked. So I couldn't have done a whole lot of good just on my own. I'll put it that way. But yeah, you can break the chain. You can do that. You just have to. It's hard, you know. And like I said, if I can help you out, if I can tell you what I've been through, my life's an open book. I don't hide anything. You know, my humor helps me because I can. You know, I make light of a lot of stuff because it's easier, especially at 66, than trying to face that. So I make light of it. But that's pretty much all I got to say. I appreciate y'all watching. If you've stuck all the way through this, good for you. But let me know what you think. Do you think there's anything we can do? You got any ideas? You know, we'll try to figure something out. But this is Joe here at the gas station. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening, a wonderful rest of the week. And if I don't do anything else, I got a couple more review videos that I processed. I got to put up still. But I'll see y'all Saturday night for sure on the live stream. And we'll see if we can keep it going this time. But this is Joe here at the gas station. I'm out, folks.